Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to another guided meditation. My name is Dr. Brad. Thank you for joining me today, whether you're here on Clubhouse or if you're live streaming with me through my website, thebreathspace.com. Thank you for joining me. So, today, to do our practice, I want to come back just to the basics of mindfulness. So many times we are easily distracted and our attention gets pulled in so many different directions. It's hard for us to settle. And when we feel discomfort in our body, any type of discomfort, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, the minute we feel some discomfort, some dis-ease, we seek distraction. So several people talk about addiction to technology, cell phones, but even Netflix movies, binging uh, Disney Channel, or scrolling through Facebook shopping, we could come back to it and say that one of the main components of all of this is discomfort. And the moment we feel discomfort, we long to distract ourselves. So the practice of mindfulness, one of the key components of that is it teaches us how to tolerate discomfort. We feel the drive and the pull to do something to make ourselves feel safe and secure. But sometimes there's nothing we can do. And then many times when we follow those behavioral addictions, those tech addictions, we wind up feeling more fatigued and stressed out in the end anyway. So today we're going to practice mindfulness. We're going to go through focusing on different sensations of the body. Mindfulness is not just sitting quietly and having no thoughts. So if that is anything that you think we're doing here, let me correct that assumption. Mindfulness is not the absence of thinking or thoughts. Mindfulness is attending to the quality of our experience, noting it, being present to it, noticing any judgments we give to it. Notice when our mind takes off, and then bringing it back to the anchor. So I'll walk you through that. We'll start with mindfulness of sensation. So find a comfortable position. Classically, we are taught in mindfulness meditation from the Buddhist perspective to find an upright position, a strong, stable position. As I said that, I just sat up a little bit more. So find an upright, strong position where if you're sitting, maybe your back is away from the chair, if that works for you. Now, if sitting in an upright position is difficult, you can do this standing, you can do this lying down, because we don't want the focus to be on the discomfort of the position. So let's begin finding that stable position, lying down or sitting, but whatever you do, see if you can make the spine elongated. Bring the ears over the shoulders, bring the head back. And just orient around you to the moment. Notice the space, the environment you're in. And then if you'd like, look down. Don't look at your computer screen. You don't need to look at your phone. If the mind is dancing about, you might close your eyes. If you find that you're a little bit sleepy, you can keep your eyes open. Now, the very first anchor for our attention today, allow the first anchor to be the sensation of sound. We're going to spend a few minutes cycling through sensations. Turn your attention to sound. Sounds in the room, outside the room, even sounds in your own body. Now, you might notice how quickly you follow those sounds and you name them the object that's making them, that's producing them. Car, airplane overhead, the wind through the trees, my voice. I invite you instead to pay attention and rest on the quality of the sensation. Do you notice the tone? Is it high or low? Is it loud? Is it soft? Does it change? Is it intermittent or constant? But see, each moment is new. So pay attention to the sound that's appearing right now. And truly, you will never hear that sound again. Even if it's produced again later, the object makes another sound. It's not this one. Now let's shift our attention to our nose and smell. So we're doing the same thing. What's the quality of that sensation of smell? Is it sweet? Is it sour? Is it acrid? Is it burnt? Is it strong or is it just gentle? It's as if we're trying to get to know the sensation intimately. Notice that it arises more profoundly on the in-breath and maybe it dissipates on the out-breath. And what about taste now? Just drop your attention down to your tongue. This is our warm-up exercise. Notice the tongue. What tastes are present? So same as sound, same as smell. Break it down to the fundamental qualities that are present. And do you notice that they don't always stay in the foreground? You might taste something sweet. Where on your tongue? Is it at the tip, the back, the sides? Does it rise and fall away moment to moment? Do you notice how you start to tell a story? You start to follow a stream of thought. Oh, that was my coffee I had just 5 minutes ago. Oh, remember brewing it? And we're off and away from this moment. Again, we're becoming intimate with this moment. Now, if your eyes are closed, you can keep them closed. If they're open, they can stay open as you focus now on sight. And when I do this with my eyes closed, I'm surprised the number of shapes and textures and swirling lights I see. What's presenting itself right now? Note the quality of them, rather than get drawn to where they came from or how long they'll remain. Now, for the sense of touch, let's move to the body. Now we can, if you'd like, just do a simple thing of just putting one hand on the belly and one on the chest. And then just softening the shoulders, softening the elbows, letting the hands just rest there. And now our focus, our anchor, is simply the movements that arise under the hands. Perhaps the movements correspond with the breath. So allow the spotlight to be the breath. Allow the movements underneath the hands to take center stage. So each movement is unique. Each breath is specific to this moment. You will never breathe this breath again. So I invite you to practice becoming intimate with this next breath or this next movement underneath your hands. How does this breath shape the torso? And just note the sensation, expanding, stretching, rising, releasing, falling. Whatever words closely approximate your actual experience. Now, as I said at the onset, as we settle, you might find something uncomfortable. Some discomfort arises. The discomfort can be in the body, as an ache, a pain, a tightness, a constriction. Perhaps you notice the discomfort more along your energy, feeling sluggish, lethargic, heavy. I would suggest that those energetic changes are physical as well. Or maybe you notice the discomfort primarily in the mind, cognitively. You find yourself repeating a word or a phrase, or you're stuck in a loop of a thought. Maybe an image, an unpleasant one, is arising and taking center stage. Whenever the thought or image arise, simply note it, name it as image, as thought. If you want to be more descriptive, the thought of my bills, the thought of taxes, the thought of arises, is present. And if you can, and that's an if you can, note that when the thought arises, the image arises, or the sensation calls for attention, note the change in the movement beneath your hands. Mind and body are connected. We think something, we imagine something, and the brain sends signals down to the body to prepare itself for what it will need to encounter. When I think of taxes, the movement behind my hands, beneath them, slows down a bit. The movement of my lower hand, my belly, the breath beneath my lower hand tightens, bringing my attention back to my anchor, the breath, and the movement beneath the hands. I can observe the change moment to moment. I think of it as walking into a room filled with your friends. And each moment, there's another friend. There's the breath again. Hi, there you are. And there's another breath. Sometimes our discomfort arises when we bring to this practice an expectation of how we should do it. The mind should never wander. The breath should always be even. Our body should always be comfortable. When you notice such a thought, recognize it. It's simply thinking. Note the discomfort. Note it. Be with it for a moment. Sit with it. You don't need to get rid of that discomfort. The thought is present. It's there. You don't have to follow it. And what I mean by that is, you don't have to say, oh yes, the mind shouldn't wander. Oh yes, and keep thinking about that. You simply notice that thought's present. And you might feel a little softening. And then come back to this breath, the movement beneath the hands. Note where your mind wandered. If a physical, somatic sensation arises that's unpleasant, an ache, a pain, you can gently shift your attention to make that the spotlight. And can you observe it in the same way we observe sound and smell and vision and taste? You just note it. What's the quality of that ache? If you don't have to do anything to fix it and you just embrace it and observe it, what happens to it? Note the impulse to want to distract yourself, to move, to shift, to think of something else. What's it like when you can simply say, "Hello, sensation, here I am. I'm present. I'm present to you." When you feel safe and secure, bring your attention back to the breath, this very next breath. As you settle into this, let the body take over. The body takes over the breathing and the movement, the physical sensation of the breath. The movement of the body underneath your hands takes center stage. And as you will hear every mindfulness instructor say at some point, if the mind wanders 100 times in 1 minute, that's actually when the practice begins. The minute you notice your mind wanders, bring it back. If you find the thought appears, oh, it shouldn't wander, just note it, thinking. Let go of the judgment, the expectation, and begin again. There's no difference in the number of times we begin again between a novice and a seasoned practitioner. Just take another final moment here. Feeling, being intimate with the next few breaths. To end this practice, I invite you to take a moment before you shift, before you move, before you open your eyes, to just take an imagination break. Visualize, how might your day go when you can bring a little more mindful attention off this cushion, this chair, and into your life? Whenever a discomforting, uncomfortable sensation or thought arises, to just observe it, become intimate with it. Breathe into it. Just be present. And notice how you may not have to follow every distraction that arises. I like to dedicate each practice to the greater good. So take a moment with some metta from my heart to yours, to everyone's. May all beings everywhere be safe. May all beings everywhere be healthy. May all beings everywhere be at peace. And may all beings everywhere go gently, knowing their goodness. Thank you so much for joining me today. As always, I'd love to hear your feedback. You can reach out to me through my website, thebreathspace.com. I'll be here every Monday and Thursday. I hope you have a lovely weekend. Thank you.